Joel Silver. And Lionel Wigram. Robert's co-star in the film, Rachel McAdams. And welcome back to the stage, Robert Downey Jr.
Well, I guess that played all right.
Okay, can we talk a little bit about how you came to make a Sherlock Holmes movie? That was the
Well, I've been a fan of Sherlock Holmes since I started reading the stories as a kid. My dad read them to me originally when I was about 9 years old, and I always thought it'd be great to make a Sherlock Holmes movie. And I tried for several years, and I could never figure out exactly how to do it. And when I became a producer, I reread the stories and I realized that there was a new way to do Sherlock. So I made a comic book, which was really a way to show again how cool and fun Sherlock could be, and how, as a character, the brilliance of Conan Doyle is that he's as modern as a character as he was back when he was originally created. He applies as much to today as he did when he was originally created. I brought it to Warner Brothers, and we went from there. And then Joel and Susan got involved, and Robert and Rachel, and Guy, and we've made this wonderful movie, which hopefully you guys will love when you see it.
It's really great. I mean, Downey really is genius in this role. I mean, he's genius in every role. But he really made it come to life, and he and Jude and Rachel and Guy made a fantastic movie. And Lionel and Susan, we worked behind the scenes to make it great, and we hope you love it.
Oh, they covered it. You guys heard the story. Hopefully you like the movie.
Well, aside from the Conan Doyle canon, Sherlock Holmes has probably been pastiche more than any other character in literature. It's been all over the world in time. Robert, in your take on this character, can you talk a little bit about how you developed Sherlock?
Sure. Well, as you know, I'm a very serious method actor. Look, I mean, I think the more we all looked into the original lexicon of the four novels and the dozens and dozens of short stories, the more we realized that in a way Sherlock had been misrepresented in a lot of the previous, much loved televised and filmed entertainment versions of Sherlock Holmes, and that, and I think some of it was a constraint of just the times, because he was very kind of liberal and trippy and all that stuff, but also, you know, I think budget too. So I think so many of the stories had a large scope, and we just got really excited about that. Every time we were in doubt, Susan and Rachel and Lionel and Joel and I and Jude was very central in this too. We would go back to what did Doyle say these people said, and how did these people describe each other, because, you know, there's trillions of pages of data about Holmes, Watson, Adler, the adventures they go on, where they live, what their likes and dislikes are. So we really went pretty much right back to the source. So that was how we reinvigorated it, was by deciding to change less than had been changed previously.
Yeah, Rachel, can you talk a little bit about Irene Adler, Sherlock's love interest?
I mean, Irene is really fun because she's a totally different kind of woman for the late 1800s. She's very independent, she's very active, she kind of lives in the underworld. And you know, there's only one story where Irene is introduced, Scandal in Bohemia, and it's a really fun story between her and Sherlock. She happens to beat Sherlock at his own game, and it's the first time a woman has ever done that. So we developed this kind of strange love affair, very unique love affair, and yeah, we just kind of played on that we're very competitive with one another, and we're trying to outsmart each other all the time, and yet trying to have this odd, normal relationship, which is nearly impossible. It's fun.
There, we see a glimpse of some of the supporting characters. We see Lestrade. I'm just curious, are any of the other, is Professor Moriarty in the picture? Are there any of the other supporting characters throughout the canon make any appearances? The irregulars?
There will be Mrs. Hudson, who I don't think you caught a glimpse of in the 5 minutes. She's there. And then there may or may not be a couple others, but you gotta see it. But the Baker Street irregulars are not part of that.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
Thank you. The answer to that question is thank you.
My question is for Robert Downey Jr. First of all, I'd like to say you are absolutely fantastic in Iron Man, Fur, Zodiac, Tropic Thunder, The Soloist, and so on.
Where are you? I can't see you, Mommy. Hey.
What was it like for being involved in such a period film? I mean, there's even touching on the steampunk realm a little bit, and to be involved with such a character with the intense history that is Sherlock Holmes.
Well, again, it was just so odd to me. I had been saying to Joel shortly after the success of Iron Man, I was like, dude, where's our franchise? And he was like, give me a minute. And shortly thereafter, things had kind of come together, and Lionel, if you don't mind me saying, had kind of been trying to garnish some interest around Sherlock, and it actually, there was a graphic novel type comic book in the works about it, and when people started seeing it in that light, it made it a little more palatable, because sometimes if something hasn't been done for a long time, nobody wants to admit, well, that's because we didn't think of it, or we didn't have a vision of it, and so that presentation got it going, and then Joel and I got excited, and me and obviously the missus down there on the end, we like separateness within unity, and we love working together, and that's always been a fruitful thing. So yeah, we knew it had to be done in period. We knew that we had to really roll up our sleeves and do it justice, because what would be lamer than doing a version of Sherlock Holmes, given that opportunity to either sail or dump the franchise for any future takers by making a version of it that isn't quite smart enough. So we really wanted to make it, without being too clever for its own good, we wanted to really root it in what we love about these characters, and we wanted it to also be as exciting as what's required nowadays for a big movie, and for the kind of movie we can come in and sell soap to y'all here about. And so, and a big part of it too, not to put